Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on data science by getting started with a really powerful tool called R. And don't worry, you don't need to be some kind of math wizard to use it. Actually, R is your key to finally understanding the stories hidden in the data that's all around us. So let's jump in. Have you ever seen a news report or a business chart and just wished you could see the real story behind all those numbers? Well, that curiosity, that's the heart and soul of data analysis, and it's exactly what we're going to start building on today. So here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what R even is. Then we'll get you all set up and take a quick tour of your main tool, which is called RStudio. After that, you'll jump right in and do your first calculations, and my favorite part, you'll learn about the magic of variables. It's a really simple step-by-step path to writing your very first bit of code. Okay, so first up, what in the world is R? Seriously, think of it less like some scary complex coding language and more like a superpower for making sense of information. It was built from the ground up specifically for working with data. What's really cool about R is where it came from. This wasn't built in some giant corporate lab. Nope, it was created by two professors, Rossi Haka and Robert Gentleman, and they made it specifically for teaching statistics. So its entire DNA is rooted in education, which honestly makes it a perfect language to learn with. And its use has totally exploded way beyond the classroom. I mean, from data mining and super complex analysis, all the way to bioinformatics and making these beautiful, insightful charts, R is a professional-grade tool used in tons of industries to explore data and run really critical statistical tests. All right, enough of the theory. Let's actually get this thing up and running for you. Getting set up is surprisingly simple, and I promise we're going to have you writing your first line of code in just the next couple of minutes. So you basically have two main options. You can install R and the RStudio software right onto your computer, which is awesome for working offline. But for today, we're going to take the fastest, easiest path possible, Posit Cloud. It runs completely in your web browser, which means there is absolutely nothing to install. It's a no-brainer for getting started. First things first, just head on over to the Posit Cloud website. This is basically your front door. From here, you're going to get access to a full-blown R environment without having to install a single thing. Now, you'll see a few different pricing plans, but you can just ignore all those. The one you want is the cloud-free option. And yeah, you read that right. It costs $0 forever, so there's absolutely no barrier to entry here. The sign-up is as easy as it gets. Just a few basic details, and you are good to go. No credit card, no complicated forms. The whole thing takes less than a minute. And just like that, you are in. This is your own personal workspace right there in the cloud. You've just knocked out the single biggest setup step. From here on out, you're ready to create projects and start analyzing data. Okay, so once you start a new project, this is the screen you're going to see. This is RStudio, and it's basically the cockpit for your entire data science journey. Now, I know it might look a little busy at first, but trust me, let's just break it down. The whole screen is split into four main windows. The bottom left, that's your console. Think of it as your command line for quick, one-off commands. Right above that is the script window, where you'll write and save your longer programs. Then over on the right, the environment shows you all the data you have loaded up, and below that is a handy window for your files, any charts you make, and help documents. So now you are ready to actually write some code. And the best way to get started is to treat R like something we all get, a really, really powerful calculator. We're going to work right in the console for now. See that little greater than symbol, the little arrow? That's basically R's way of saying, okay, I'm ready for your command. So let's give it one. We'll just type in a simple math problem and hit enter. And boom, R instantly spits back the answer. That little one thing just means this is the first part of the answer. R is telling you the result is 17. And just like that, you've executed your first piece of R code. It's really that simple. Now, R is pretty smart. It already knows the normal order of operations, multiplication before addition and all that. But just like in your old math class, you have the power to control that order. And you just have to remember this one thing. In R, parentheses change everything. Just look at this example right here. We're using the exact same numbers and the same operations in the same order. Without parentheses, R just follows its default rules, and it gives us 18.625. But the moment we add those parentheses, we're forcing R to solve that part first, and the result is a completely different answer, 49.375. A tiny little change in the syntax makes a huge difference in the result. Okay, doing one-off calculations is pretty cool, but the real magic starts when you can store your results so you can reuse them later. And to do that, we need to talk about one of the most powerful ideas in all of programming: variables. So, think of a variable as just a labeled box. Right here, we're creating a box, we're labeling it A, and we're putting the number 5 inside it. That equals sign is what we call the assignment operator. It just assigns the value on the right to the variable on the left. Now here's the powerful part. We don't have to type the number 5 anymore. We can just use our variable a. So when we type a squared, r looks inside that a box, it finds the number 5, and it calculates 5 squared for us, giving us 25. This is like a fundamental building block for everything else we're going to do. And variables aren't just for single numbers. You can store entire lists of data in them. Here, we're using the C command, which just stands for combine, and we're storing a whole list of prime numbers inside our variable a. This is the first step towards working with the big data sets that R is so famous for. So think about it. In just a few minutes, you figured out what R is, you've set up a full coding environment, and you've used it as both a calculator and a way to store information. You've officially written your first lines of code. So the only question left is, with these new skills, what story are you going to tell with data?